Welcome to another episode of Insurance Gone Wild. I am your host, Dennis Settlemeyer, and this is my lovely co-host,
Stephanie Lencioni.
Lencioni. Hey, listen, we have been pretty busy lately. It is the season. Health insurance obviously is the season.
Yeah.
Other stuff is the season that's going on. The insurance world is going crazy. And
feral, if you will. That was a word we used off camera just a little while ago.
What was
Happened to be describing my children at the time, but it's still feral is still, I believe, applicable, perhaps.
Yeah.
No, kids will be kids. Yeah. They get a little crazy. And then they get excited with all the camera and the equipment and stuff like that. So, but they're good kids.
No, they are good kids. You have no idea what other kids can be like. I've told you that. None.
Oh, I've seen them and I avoid them at all costs.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I'm like, so sorry, friend. We can't be friends any longer.
Your kids are very, very good. So that's nothing you need to worry about, at least at this age. Now, they become teenagers, they may turn into terrorists. We don't know.
That's true.
Little terrorist.
Yeah.
To
be determined.
Especially thing two.
She is just... she's going to give me a run for my money.
Yes, she is.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that today with my parents. I'm like, if she isn't every,
great.
She's fantastic. But if she isn't every bit of me packaged in this like adorable, fiery, so she has everything that I have. Plus, and this is like the most dangerous part, she's all girl, like all girly, all like the princess and the this and the, well, that's just women though. Like that's just in our nature.
Yeah. She's going to be sneaky.
But
well, I was thinking of something yesterday, last night specifically, because we were at an event all day yesterday.
We were. Very good event for veterans.
Yeah,
very happy to help support them in their journey.
I think one of the things that I took away from yesterday's event, because we met a lot of people.
We did.
We met a lot of very smart people.
We did.
And very successful people. But I think that one of the things that I took away from it is the reason why we do the podcast is that even these folks that are very successful, very smart, they don't know what they don't know about insurance. And you know the examples that I'm thinking of. Mm-hmm. One in particular, but there were many of them that would say things about insurance because it's the way they felt. It wasn't a factual type thing. And it's like, it doesn't work. That's not the way it works.
Yeah. And some of them were really off. Yes. Some of them were speaking probably fairly accurately about their feelings of the situation. Mm-hmm. And then some spoke and it was not like it was tough to follow because it was so incorrect. Yeah. But still very nice people. And you only have the experience that you have with insurance. And so I think just human nature, we have an experience and then we can run with it and just assume and say, oh, well, I'll just, I think that it probably works like this. So then we convince ourselves that is how it is because we assume that's the next step and what would happen. And anyway, I feel like we're kind of talking about a word salad without trying to call people out. So, but the point is, yes, I think that's a really good point. There are tons of successful people out there. Mm-hmm. And even when I talk to HR people, HR directors, whether they can be so high up in the world of benefits and HR, and they've been doing it for a long time, and that's been part of their task is going through annual enrollments and all of the things. Mm-hmm. They really don't know what they're even looking at. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of them rely so heavily on the broker. And unless you have a broker who, number one, knows what they're talking about and isn't just, have that one bullet in the chamber and they keep doing that, right? That cookie cutter process, or they're just going for the money, right? And they're like, okay, well, this is what's going to make me the most commission. Or, and let's because that's a little bit of a negative connotation toward the broker.
True.
But what if it's the brokerage where they're saying, okay, I want to do something differently. I see that there's an opportunity to do something better and differently, but now I'm handcuffed because of my employer. So you have some of those bigger brokerages, and the actual broker doesn't have the freedom. They have the perceived freedom, but not really, because if they go out of the box where premium gets lowered, like that's what Papa Bear's looking for, right? What's the premium coming in? What's the commission coming in? How are we making money? Did we just lose money because you saved them $250,000 in premium a year? Does that make sense? So I think you have those situations where, but it's not uncommon, and it doesn't mean that the people in the HR positions are bad at their job. It's just either you're not asking enough questions because it is so overwhelming. And I think I imagine you're dealing with the same thing in the commercial world, right? Like you get a hold of a new prospect, you're talking to the person who's in charge of it. They don't know. They've had the wrong policies for the last 25 years.
Yeah, that happens often. They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, and you don't know what to ask.
They just assume because they ask somebody for a policy and this is what we do, that they've got the right policy. And I always say I have to end up being the bad guy. But unfortunately, most of them never had a claim. But I'm like, man, if you'd have ever had a claim, this would have went south real quick. Yeah.
So I was going to just pile on to the, hey, we just had coverage, so we assumed we were good. But it then becomes, after so long, the mindset of, well, this is the policy that we've had, the type of policy that we've had for the last 20, 25 years. Even if it's 5 years and then somebody comes in and says, whoa, you are missing half of the coverages. Or 2 coverages. Let's make it super simple. 2 types of coverages. But these exposures, if you get hit by them, it could cost you your company. But it's different. It's different to them because the last 5 people or the last 5 years, nobody's even mentioned it. So they've been conditioned to, this is the type of policy that I need. I don't need that extra stuff. You're now trying to upsell me. And now you're the guy who's trying to line your pockets with my premium commission. And it's like, I know we're just not.
I know that there's that perception that's out there sometimes, especially when I come in and have to be the bad guy. Oh, he's just trying to get more premium out of me. But I will, as you know, I tell client or prospects right up front, I don't care what the premium is. I don't care if it's $1 or 100,000. The premium is what the premium is. Let's look at the coverage. Right. And so one of the things that I'll try to do, and if somebody calls me as a result of this podcast or one of our podcasts, they hear me say this, they're going to hear me say it to them. I focus on coverage, not cost. And it doesn't mean we're going to be more expensive. It just means that's not my focus. Right. Because the last thing you want is to have a bad claims experience because you didn't have the coverage that you needed. And we try to eliminate that. There's no perfect policy out there. There's nothing like that pays for everything. But the idea is to get you in the best possible position. Let's try to find the most obvious things that are not. If you're a restaurant, you want sewage backup coverage. And so many of these restaurant policies that I review do not have sewage backup.
Wow. Interesting.
Or they have a very small amount of sewage backup because the agent didn't go in there and say, let's increase this to a certain dollar amount.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Explain why specifically would a restaurant need, if you're finding that so many don't have it or they have just bare minimum limits, why is it so important for them to have sewage backup?
Well, I was sitting with a restoration company restoration, those guys that if you have a big water issue or sewer issue, they're the company you hire to come in and clean it up. Okay. This was pre-COVID. And we are sitting in down here, and they're everywhere, but a Wingstop. Most people know the size of a Wingstop if you've ever been in one. Let's say they're 1,000, 1,500 square foot.
Also, Wingstop, if you'd like to be a sponsor, please let us know.
That's right.
Since we're name dropping,
that's
Jesus.
right, Wingstop. Anyway, we're sitting there, and I asked the rep, whose name's Matt. and I think you've met Matt in the past, but I said, pre-COVID, I said, Matt, if there was a sewer backup in here, and let's say it was a bad one, what would it cost for the client to have this cleaned up? He looked, because that's what he did, is he did the bids and supervised the cleanup and everything. He said, you're probably looking at around $20,000. And I went,
that's the cleanup.
Wow.
That's the cleanup.
Wow.
That's not replacing anything. That's not damaged items. That's the cleanup.
Because sometimes you also have to get the health department in. You have to get the city in to, if it's a bad one, to come in and look at things again. But let's say you didn't have to get either one of those. That's just his portion. That doesn't count the food that you may or may not have lost. And so that's one of the things I look at when I look at restaurant policies is one of the very first things. What is your sewer backup? Water and sewer backup. What is that coverage? Because that is a real deal, especially when if you have some employee at night when the manager's not around there, it's pouring grease down the not in the right grease trap. They're pouring it down the sewer. And then all of a sudden you get a stoppage. Somebody tries to unblock it, and you get sewerage that comes back into the restaurant, especially in the kitchen area.
Well, and I'm going to say, and I may be talking a little out of turn, but just based on my husband's experience and different things, but if that then is bad enough, let's say it happens overnight, if whatever happens, and then now we've got all of that grease that has actually made it outside of the restaurant and it's going into sewers, like city sewers. Well, that's now an environmental situation.
Well, it could be not.
Depending on what the spill is, right?
No,
whatever
the
backup and but you can't, because you can't just wash stuff down into a drain. I mean, there's a whole process with, you can't just wash stuff. You have a liability if you just start, we're just going to put that down a drain.
You certainly could. Yeah. I don't know that you would have a liability with grease. You might.
I don't know. That's where I don't know. But
the thing is, because it's, especially if it's like vegetable oil or whatever it is they use, tallow or to fry stuff in. But I could see, if you dumped oil, like automobile oil down in something like that, you definitely get in trouble for environmental, right?
I'm wondering why a restaurant would have that, but for sure.
You know what? Sometimes you don't ask questions.
You don't ask. We'll just skip to question 14.
We're not asking that question. Yeah. But no, it goes back to people don't know what they don't know. And that was the whole idea of bringing that up is, you got to look at those things. Yeah. You've got to look at those things.
And I don't know if you can answer this about how much would it add to a policy, let's say to a 1,500 square foot operation.
Not much.
For them to, not enough. Ballpark, 500?
No.
Not even 500 a year?
No. Not on that size of restaurant, no. Maybe
But
100.
It could be 20,000 for the cleanup.
Yeah, maybe 100, 150, I would think.
So point there is math works out.
Yeah.
Math works out. Let's call it 500. That's 40 years of no claim. Math works out. And there are some coverages where it's like, well, it would cost $20,000 if something happened, but to add the coverage, it's going to cost me $8,000.
Yeah.
Then maybe I risk it because at that point I go 3 years and not have a claim. I've just at least broken even.
That's right.
Or made money because it only cost me $20,000 opposed to $24,000.
Here's the thing.
So I'm just saying, the math works out on that point.
You are exactly 100% correct that you have to look at the math and go, okay, $8,000 for a $20,000 claim
exposure, right?
But I will tell you from experience and actuarially that if you have a coverage that's $8,000 for a $20,000 claim, how often do you think that type of claim is going to happen? Okay. Often. Okay. Or it wouldn't be $8,000, right? It would be 80.
Well, okay.
But the higher that it costs to put it onto a policy, the more apt that it is to
either more expensive or more frequent.
Exactly.
Right. So either way, then, okay. So those are the things, though. These are the conversations to have. So it's, hey, let's talk about this coverage. We see you don't have it. Now let's talk through whether or not it makes sense for you. Mm-hmm. Some of them you're not, if somebody doesn't want, in this case, let's say, I mean, I don't know. It would be, I can't even imagine giving somebody the option of the water backup or the sewage backup, right? It's like, hey, it's just on there.
I put it on there and I pointed out that we've got it on there and you currently don't.
Right. But the 8,000 one, it's just like, hey, again, conversation. It's just the conversation.
Yeah.
And depending on what it is, there may be some that you,
yeah.
right. There may be some that you walk away from and you're like, that's just that, you know what? No, it's too important. We're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But then others, again, we don't, for the most part, we don't care what the client decides,
mm-hmm.
but understand what you're deciding.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to self-insure this risk, mm-hmm. at least understand that you've self-insured it.
That's right.
And then from there, we don't care. If you want to pay the 8,000 mm-hmm. because it's just peace of mind for you, mm-hmm. awesome, do that too. Mm-hmm. But again, just the information.
No, you're exactly right. And that's the way you have to look at it. You have to get the info. I always tell folks, look, if you don't have the information, it's hard for you to make a decision. Whatever your decision is,
whatever that means.
Now, there comes a point where I have to make a decision. Yeah, that's not one that I can live with as an agent. You're welcome to make that decision, but I think that you're making a huge mistake on this particular thing. There's other ways to do stuff. This is not the right way to do it. And then I have to make a decision. Do I want to have this person as a client or not? Because I'm afraid
there's going to be backlash. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a general contractor that builds homes and he doesn't want products completed coverage. Why would you not want products completed coverage? Well, that's going to cost me extra amount. I already figured that out. Yeah, that's not going to work because you build homes. You build a product.
And you're hoping to complete it. Like, isn't that the idea?
Yeah. And so when you complete it, you still have a responsibility after you leave.
Right. That doesn't come crashing down.
Yeah. You're responsible to it. And so if I had that, I'd be like, no.
Yeah. What I will say, and I know it's a little bit of semantics.
And here's the thing, they can do that. That's their decision. But that gives me an idea of what type of personality that I'm looking at. There is a difference between, I'm willing to take the risk and I hate insurance. I don't want anything to do with it. I hate it. I only have to have it so I can get this contract and move on. That's different. And I will tell you, I did not understand this when I first got into insurance. Insurance companies don't like those type of clients. Not so much because they're not getting the premium. That's what I thought. I thought, well, they can't sell it because they can't get the premium, therefore they don't want it. That's not it. Those type of clients typically have bigger claims. Not necessarily more frequent, but when they have one, it's big.
Okay.
And insurance companies are like, so you have the defense and then you have the payout. Well, defenses can get very expensive.
Very.
Especially in construction. Defense can get very expensive.
I'm going to tell you anything.
Yeah.
You throw an attorney in the mix and you got yourself an expensive situation.
So anyway, now I understand it. I didn't understand it, but my experience has been, they're actually kind of right. Folks that are willing to take those type of risk on essential coverages, not, like you get, sometimes I get, let's say a restaurant, they're looking at their policy. Well, why do I have fine arts coverage? Well, that's just kind of thrown in there. Right. There's no extra cost for it, just thrown in there. Well, I don't want it. Well, we can't take it off. And if we did, doesn't make any difference on the premium because the type of policy it is. But I get it. You don't need fine arts coverage. You don't need, collectibles coverage. You don't need some of the, okay, if we could get it off, we'd get rid of it. But when it comes to certain things, you have to have it. That's the whole reason.
Well, and going back to, which kind of makes it feel like I wasn't listening to you the whole time as you just rambled on and on.
Well, I did. But
ramble. I'm just kidding. I did listen.
I do ramble.
No. I'm just kidding.
I didn't think I went so far out of the way this time.
No, you did great. No, you did great. And that's my only question would be, how would they dictate, how do they tell who has that type of attitude toward it? But they can probably see just based on.
The agent should be able to help determine that.
Right.
And, how do they tell? Well, they really can't, unless you call underwriting, start saying, hey, can we get a liability policy without products completed?
Right.
And they'd be like,
no, we don't want that appetite. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And now some companies will take it. They're like, oh yeah, it's free money to us. The premium, we're probably never going to have a claim. We'll take it. For instance, we have a manufacturing company that had that, and that's how I got them, that big manufacturing company. Is they make stuff and they did not have products completed, and they make very unique things.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that are used in very dangerous situations, and they did not have products completed. And we added it on there and
increased the premium quite a bit.
About 10 times what it was. Yep. Because what they make is dangerous. Or how it's used is dangerous.
Right. So third time's a charm for me to actually get my point out. So that's not on you. This is on me. But you made a comment and said, at that point that it's up to me, then now I have a decision to make. And I would argue, and I understand this is just kind of picking on semantics, but I would argue we have the decision to make from the beginning, right? Like, as much as we need clients to pay our bills, because we do get paid commission, and this is how we earn a living.
Not 80% commission, by the way.
It is not 80% commission.
Like you see on the Facebook ads.
Right.
No. It's usually, I will tell you straight up, for me, 10 to 15%.
For me, it's 0 to
That's right.
22%.
You have some stuff that you sell, you get 0 for.
I get nothing.
But you sell it because it's the right thing to do.
That's what we do.
You don't even sell it at that point. It's the
right
thing to do.
Yeah, this is what I see, and I can't, whatever. But truly, we absolutely will. Hey, based on your information and what I'm seeing, this is probably the best product for you. And there's either no commission to it, or I don't actually represent it, so it's up to you, and blah blah blah, hands off.
And I've done
so
that.
Not representing the company, just in case anybody watches and they're like, well, you can't represent. I'm not. But we have the decision from the beginning as well. So you get to pick your agent, but we get to pick our clients.
That's right. It goes both ways. I think it's
a mutually beneficial relationship.
Well, I think it's that, and as you know, I'm a member of this very large property and casualty organization. And I talk to those guys a lot. And what I have discovered is that the better agents, those that are really, really good, they interview their client, their prospects, while their prospect is interviewing them. It's the point. Yeah. So if you're a business person and you have a business, it doesn't matter what your business is, you're interviewing your prospects. Because you're like, I could sell this guy 200,000 widgets, but in your case, I can sell them, but maybe it's going to be like pulling teeth to get payment from them, or logistically it's going to be a pain, or to get them to him, or they're always asking for refunds because or it's
high demand and the short time frame, or it's just whatever the case is.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't. Lots of different hiccups. So you're building a house for somebody, but then they change the color of tile every 2 days, and then you're like, oh my gosh, you changed.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter.
We have to do the same thing.
Correct. That's my point.
I think the better agents will do that. And it's not, here's the thing, folks. It's not just because I do it. It's because I've spoken to agents that are very, very good, that take the advisory role very seriously. They're the agents that you want to talk to when stuff's going down, so to speak.
Rather than the order taker.
Rather than the order taker, the 800 number that's just going to, we can set you up right here, blah, blah, blah. You call them, guess what you got? I don't know. Let me get you to claims. Well, as soon as you talk to claims, what happens? And all you got's a question.
Yep.
It turns into a claim. So now it's on your record.
Yep.
Whereas if you have an agent who has vetted you and you've vetted them, you call them up, and that agent should be able to help navigate you through. I had a call today from somebody that is not a client, and they had a tree fall. They have a rental home. The tree fell on a vehicle. the tenant's vehicle, the renter's vehicle. And the question was, Dennis, what would you do? What would you suggest in this case? Not my client, but he knows who we are. He knows me. And I said, did anybody know there was a problem with the tree? No, there was no problem with the tree as far as we knew. We don't even really know why the limb broke. It just broke. Well, I said, well, we did have some storms. There was a lot of wind.
We had high winds, yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, so the tenant or you guys the tenant never said, hey, that limb's bad. Hey, that limb's bad. Hey, that limb's bad. Hey, that limb's bad. No. I mean, he goes, everybody's cool right now. Everything's good right now between the tenant and the landlord. And I'm like, well, here's the deal. That tree limb fell onto their car. Your tenant needs to make a claim on their car insurance. Because unless you knew something was wrong with that tree, you're not liable for it. Because wind probably blew it down. That's an act of God. That's one of the only times that businesses believe in God is when it's an act of God. But the thing is, I said, you let them make a claim on their car insurance. And I'm going to go a little further so people may have this question. And then if the car insurance wants to subrogate, get reimbursement back from your clients.
No, your insurance company.
Yeah. Then let them work it out behind the scenes.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
But right now, that's what I would do. I said the same thing happens, folks. If your vehicle is parked in your house and your house catches on fire and damages your vehicle, the homeowner's insurance is not going to pay for the vehicle. You need to make a claim on your auto insurance for that. If it's two different companies, let them battle it out. Chances are the home insurance is never going to pay for it because it's excluded in the policy, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, but the fact is that guy that called me is the type of client that I want. Even though he's not my client, I've known him for a number of years now. And it's interesting that he's calling me.
Yeah, and we have referenced that before where it's like...
He didn't call
his
other agent.
Yeah. So why is he not a client? Which would be the question I would then challenge. But it is weird. Sometimes, I mean, I've got plenty of friends who are not clients.
Well, if I told you what all they did, you would understand why they're not a client. But it's nothing bad on my part. They're property management. So they have the individual owner of the rental home has their own insurance, and he just manages the property for whoever owns it. He's a property management company is what he is. So he was just asking me, what do we do? I'm like, this is what I would do.
But do you have his personal homeowners?
No.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. So like at that point, I'm just saying then if it's just crazy to me.
No, but I know the agent that does, so I'm not going after it because I like the agent.
But then all I'm saying is why didn't he call the agent? If you like the agent and he didn't call the agent.
Because the agent's his personal stuff. You asked about his personal stuff.
I did.
Yeah. You asked about his personal stuff. So if it's the agent that I think it is, I like the other agent and I won't go after that business.
I'm not asking to go after it, but then why didn't he call that agent?
Because that agent doesn't do commercial.
So that was a commercial question?
I think he was probably more of a commercial question, which it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No. It's the same answer.
Anyway, I just, I always think
there's reasons why. There's
well, not always.
There's a method to my madness.
No, and there's, I will say.
And my apple juice.
Yes. I haven't had apple juice in a long time. It's pretty sad. You'd think I would have lost a little bit more weight not sipping on the sauce. I gained 7. I'm just kidding. I didn't. But I feel like I did. I did by not losing 15. I feel like I gained 7.
November's coming.
It is. Can't get here fast enough.
Saturday, right?
Uh-huh. Yep. Don't call me, folks.
I brought a gift.
For me? To celebrate the achievement?
I kind of had to because there's none left.
Yeah, we haven't restocked. So that's probably the most, I think, expensive part of this damn podcast is boozing you up.
The cigars. The cigars.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't know how long
Paul
this has
gets
been
paid
going.
in cigars, right?
So, yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, listen, it's been an interesting week, an interesting 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
You've got open enrollment this time of year when we're recording this. It's going on, and a lot of renewals and new business and things along those lines. And it's been a year. It's been a crazy year.
It's been something.
For us as an organization, it's been a crazy year. It's not a complaining year. It's just been different. It's had a different feel to it because we've been trying some different things. And I don't know how else to describe it other than it's been different. Different year. I'm hoping.
Yeah,
not bad, just different.
I mean, some bad and some great. Well, and then some stuff that's just is.
Even some of the really bad we learn lessons from, right?
We do, which I feel like we probably need to address soon. But yeah. That's the thing. Anything bad, just learn a lesson, move on, don't do it again.
Yeah.
Well,
hence the reason the podcast costs so much.
I know, that's right. All right.
We get it out of our system during the podcast.
Well, we put it in the system. Yeah.
Guys, Insurance Gone Wild. If you have questions, comments, reach out to us. Contact at igwpodcast.com, or give us a phone call. 817-753-0093. 817-753-0093. Hey, put a comment on the YouTube or the Instagram.
Hit that subscribe.
Hit that subscribe button. You know what? We'll figure out how to
fall asleep while listening to us, for the love.
Oh, you won't fall asleep listening to us because you'll be like, what next coming out of her mouth?
Wow.
You know?
Nobody knows.
So.
All right.
Anyway, thank you all. Appreciate it.